How's it going, and welcome to Inside the Z, the Zachary Football Podcast. My name is Scott Pellegrin, Coach Pell, and on today's episode, we have our player interview, the Coach's Spotlight, and Story Time with Coach Brew. Joining us for all the fun, we have Offensive Coordinator Kenny Langlois, Captain Zachary Hogan, and the man himself, Coach Brew. This week's player interview, we have another captain, the third captain. We kind of have a theme going here. Captain Zachary Hogan. How are you today, Z?
Good, Coach. Good. Just another day working.
Love it. So let's jump right in, man. So this podcast, you know, our player interview every week. We talk about the locker room. We talk about how the team and the program is from a player's point of view. We talk about, you know, y'all perspective, what y'all go through, and we talk to Coach Brew and other coaches a lot about what we as coaches try to get out of y'all and try to do as a program.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about your experience here. How long you been at Zachary?
Well, I transferred in my sophomore year during the winter, and it's definitely a change from other schools. Like, very organized. You know, every day it's like a job, kind of. Very organized, and it's like a family. Like, it's a community out here. So it's definitely different from other, you know, places and organizations out there.
Yeah, and that's kind of my feel too. When I first got here, I was like, man, super organized, and I always thought as a coach, you know, the best programs are the ones that are really organized. The ones where you can.
It's a winning program.
Absolutely. So, you're definitely, obviously, you're a starter this year. You're a 2-year starter. You started last year as well.
Yes, sir.
So, and obviously this year you were voted as captain. So a transfer coming in as a sophomore. So that means you spent an off season. Plus, this is going to be your second full year with the program.
Yes, sir.
Talk about being elected a captain, man. 'Cause that comes from your peers. You know what I mean? You could have been looked at as an outsider, but you weren't. You probably, you know, welcomed into the family. Talk about what that means to be voted a captain.
Yeah, I mean, it meant a lot, you know, knowing that the team trusts me. And, you know, I was one of the 4 guys, you know, for them to trust out of the 100 guys on this team. But it kind of started, like, you know, when we lost last year, you know, my cornerback coach, Coach Email, and Coach Brew told me, you know, I'm not the new guy anymore.
Right.
It's time for me to step up and get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of tried to take that role, you know, the whole summer. I'm pretty sure you heard me try to be more vocal and stuff like that. So I feel like as a team, we all understand, like, we got to be player-led, and I think that's what makes this team good, not just me being vocal, but a lot of us being vocal, me, Donovan, KB, you know, all the captains.
What impact does that have, being vocal, and the rest of the guys?
It means a lot because, you know, we could give up a touchdown, or offense could probably turn the ball over. And, for example, the Plaquemine game, where offense turned the ball over, we on the sideline, let's go, you know, we got this. This is exactly what Coach was talking about. You know, we got to have the offense back. And turns out we came out there with energy.
Mm-hmm.
We did what we were supposed to do. So you could tell, you know, we feed off each other energy. And if we talk like we believe it can happen, because everybody on this team individually got talent. So we just got to know that we do.
So, and I kind of want to jump into the Plaquemine game a little bit, because the theme of today's episode, at least with when Coach Brew is going to come in here and tell a few stories, is going to be adversity. You know, responding to adversity, whether that be on the field, off the field, during games, falling behind in a game, or just coming back from a mistake. So I feel like,
yes, sir,
as a player, and obviously the other night, you had some adversity. You know, at one point in the game,
yes, sir,
you know, big touchdown, but talk about what's going through your head when a situation like that happens. Because I'll be honest, playing DB is difficult because if something bad happens, there's only one person people are looking at. Well, who's covering them? It's just like being an offensive lineman. Well, who was supposed to block that guy?
Right.
You know, so that's kind of difficult. But you gotta be a mature player to handle that. So talk me through what was going on there.
You know, I'm pretty sure we all saw it.
Right.
I gave up a hitch and go. It was a, you know, decent route. I came to the side. Well, first I was on kickoff return. I was real hard on myself. So, you know, I got to go back. I got to go return the ball. And Coach Cleve was the first coach to kind of calm me down, you know. He told me, he was like, just make a play. So I found myself, I muffed the kick, but I
Mhm.
went back and I made
Ended up turning into a good
I
return.
made a real decent return. So that kind of got me, up a little bit, like I can make a play for my team. And then Coach Zito really was the one that calmed me down. Like, I got to the sideline, and Coach Zito, like, he stopped me. He was just like, "Tell me what you did wrong." Told him what I did wrong, and then like, he really calmed me down. But it's like you gotta be like short minded. Like, you gotta forget the other play. And then Coach Cleve came to me right before it was finna go on the defensive drive. He said, "You finna catch a pick." Like, he told me, he was like, "Just calm down. You finna catch a pick." And turns out, caught a pick six. And that's just what comes with DB. You're gonna get beat. You just gotta understand that you gotta be short minded, and you just gotta forget the bad plays.
Yep.
Like, you can't, because it's a rhythm thing. So you can't forget. You can't just remember all the bad plays you do. It's just gonna continue.
And you
And
got to
as an
learn from them
OC
too. Yeah.
And as an OC, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna keep attacking you. So
Because wasn't it the same play they tried to come back with?
Mhm.
And then right there, you're like, no, I ain't making that
Yep.
mistake again.
same hitch and go.
Yep. So that's like I said, it takes a mature player to play those spots because there's a lot of spotlight on those spots.
Yes, sir.
You know, especially when something bad happens, but also being able to respond and say, well, that play's over with. I can't fix that one, but I can fix the next one. And I'm gonna fix it.
Yep. That's the biggest thing about being a DB. That go for all of us. We just got to be short minded and listen to the coaches. Like, it was Coach Zito also helped me out. We changed the coverage.
Mhm. Yeah.
Turns out they threw it right to me. So just listen to the coaches and just be disciplined, and it's gonna fall in line.
That's a good deal, man. So, what? And I asked Donovan this, and I think I asked KB this. What kind of is your secret sauce as a captain? Like, you know, some guys are more vocal than others. Some guys are more, I'm going to lead by example. I don't say much, but, you know, I'm going to let my play do the talking. That's how I'm going to lead the team, or I'm going to pump guys up, or I'm going to be the smartest guy. I'm going to be just like a coach on the field, you know, and I think we have a little bit of that with everybody, you know, because I mean, obviously Donovan is kind of like a coach out there, you know, and so what's your kind of secret sauce? You're more pumping guys up, I think, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. The funny thing about the captains this year, we all our personalities are different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, B. White's the quiet one. Like, he's the real quiet one. You know, the ones that just gonna play. He's gonna show you all about his play. Donovan, like you said, the coach on the field. Me and KB kind of similar. You know, we the ones that pump. You know, we verbal. Like I said earlier, you know, we the ones that's gonna talk to you, make the team verbally understand what they're finna go through.
Right.
Because we've been through it before last year. If that makes sense. So, you know, just verbally pumping the team up and basically just telling the team what it takes to win. Because we on a 2-year schedule. So every team we saw them last year.
That's right.
So, like, just basically telling them what to expect from each team every week.
So as being a returning starter, does that give you more confidence in your mind coming into your senior season?
Yes, sir.
Knowing that, especially it was the same schedule last year, so you're seeing the same. Might be guys graduated or whatever, but it's still probably similar offenses, similar defenses.
Yes, sir. It definitely boosts my confidence knowing, like, I've been through this before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the game it's definitely slows down at times. You know, but it's just it helps. Yeah, knowing you got the experience and knowing that you played this team a year before, especially if they beat you, like, just coming in there with like a chip on your shoulder and also knowing what to expect is definitely helps out a lot.
So what's next? Senior season, obviously, you know, you transferred in, so you weren't on that team that went all the way.
No, sir, but I kept up with that team.
Right. But I think we all did. I mean, I did too. You know, that was a really good team. So, you know, kind of second to last question here. The legacy of this place and, you know, this name of the podcast, you know, Inside the Z. So take us inside. What does it mean to kind of follow in the footsteps of the 4 championship teams and, you know, wanting to get one for this group of seniors who you know, because your seniors, your brothers on the team, a lot of them were there that night, and it didn't end the way everybody wanted it to, obviously. So what's that mean to try to get back, and what's the work we got to put in to give ourselves a chance to get there?
Yeah, it means, to answer your first, it means a lot. Like, playing for the Z, like looking at it outside in, like, it's like coming to the game, seeing the whole community come, seeing the lights, just seeing it looks amazing. Like the communities out here, like it just looks great. And to get back to that place where my class was their sophomore year, I think we just gotta play physical and just be disciplined. Like we got the talent, just physicality and discipline. That's the two main things. Real big on discipline, physicality. If we can do those two things, I think that takes us a lot. Cause you look at those past teams, like our coaches tell us, that's what they were very good at, physicality and discipline, especially the physical part.
Absolutely.
So if we could stay physical, I think that can get us back there.
What's next for you next year after this is all said and done? College football.
Yes, sir. Talking to a couple schools right now, but Kentucky State school that,
They recruit a lot of guys from this area.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they offer me, they talk to me consistently every day. So definitely want to go play college ball.
I ask everybody the same question. What you want to be when you grow up? Don't know yet?
I want to do some type of, like, my major, I want to do some type of broadcasting, like, but I haven't really dug deep into it, but I do want to do some type of, like, broadcasting or, like.
Hey, here's your tryout right here, man.
Yeah,
you got to get that radio voice down.
Coach, something like this, coach, or coaching or something like that. I love to get back into the game.
Yeah.
I love the game of football, so I want to do something that I love to do. Like, I come every day wanting to do. Like y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all love coming coaching us every day. So something like that.
Awesome. So Z, I appreciate you coming on here. Captain Sakari Hogan, man. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, coach.
All right, thank you. Back on Inside the Z, the Zachary Football Podcast, sitting here with longtime OC Kenny Langlois. Kenny, thank you for the time, man.
No problem, coach. Glad to be here.
So, kind of keeping with our theme the last couple of weeks, we have a coach on, do the coach's spotlight. We call it, we ask a little bit about the background, and especially we try to hit kind of the more experienced guys on staff, and we got a lot of them. But you're one of the originals on the Brew staff with Steve, correct?
Correct. 12th year?
Yep. 12 years. So you've been the OC the entire time?
I have.
So tell me a little bit about your background, where you've been kind of before landing here at Zachary.
Out of college, went straight to my old high school, Catholic Point Capee. The years kind of get confusing, but I think it was 6 there. Then I spent 1 year at Lee High School, which is Liberty now. Then returned back to Catholic Point Capee. Then 1 year stay at False River Academy, and that was Coach Bruce's first year. Was when I was at False River, he was at Livonia. And then I joined him and his staff at Livonia for 6 years.
And y'all had a pretty good run at Livonia. I know they weren't really used to winning, and y'all brought the team all the way to the Dome.
We did. The last 3 years, I think we had a quarterfinal run, a semifinal run, and then, a tough loss in the Dome, double overtime. But that was some good times.
Yeah. He talks really highly of it. The buy-in of the kids and things like that. So, what were some of the immediate differences? So, you've been to a few schools, and you're a graduate of Point Capee, correct?
Correct.
So, I guess and being here for so long, you see how the other big schools in the area kind of operate from the outside. What is it about this place? What people ask me, being kind of new here, is what's the secret sauce over there? I mean, what is the secret sauce over here? And a lot of people talk about the organization and things like that, but what was it for you when you got here, and has that changed? Has that been consistent? Has that evolved in the last 12?
Obviously, first of all, I mean, we've had some very good players come through here.
Yeah.
When I came here from Livonia, the entire offensive staff, I think, stayed intact, with the exception of the offense coordinator that was here before me. So the coaching staff that I inherited here was very good. So I think you put good players and good coaches together, and you have some good outcomes. And the administration, from superintendents to principals to assistant principals, I don't think there's really anything that we need here or Coach Brew needs for the program that isn't taken care of.
Yeah. You don't want from much. Talk about the staff a little bit you inherited, because a lot of those guys are still here.
They are. Jason Davis, O-line coach. I've been at the schools I've named, by far. I guess I got to watch what I say, because I guess Coach Brew was offensive line coach maybe 1 year at Livonia. But, unbelievable offensive line coach. Kendall Cleveland, running backs coach. Drew Nettles, receivers coach. And this year we added Chris McNamara on the offensive side. He was with us at Livonia, and an ex-player, Chandler Whitfield.
Mm-hmm.
Was a great addition. We're none of us are getting any younger, so it was good to have some energy brought on our side of the ball. We're kind of getting old on our side, so he brings a little more energy to our side of the staff.
And it helps whenever it helps being a former player too, because especially that played under y'all.
Correct.
Because none of us are getting any younger. And one day, especially something like what y'all have been able to build here in the last 12 years, to be able to pass it down to somebody who saw it as a player, now can see it as a coach on the other side, and hopefully could keep that juice going.
Yeah, it was an easy transition for him. First year coach, but like you said, being in this offense that, when he was here, some things have changed, but a lot of things are still the same. His biggest adjustment was just learning the coaching side of it,
right,
not the player side.
And one thing I want to ask you too, and if I'm getting too inside baseball, you could stop me. And I was a defensive coordinator in the area for a few years, and I feel like we played Zachary every year since I moved to Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
And going up against you and the guys in the offense that y'all put together here, I always compared it to, okay, we could play the Acadiana this week, right? Split back veer, that's what they do. That is home for them. Any variation always goes back to what that original handful of formations and plays are. It always seemed like, I always joke, I said, man, I drew less cards versus Zachary than anyone else, because it always seemed like y'all just had a grip on what y'all did and did it really, really well. And it wasn't much, but it was good and efficient.
Yeah. We talk about that with our guys, and actually had that conversation with our quarterbacks just now in our meeting. From spring through summer, we're going to run 3 run plays, and that's all we're going to run. We're going to run zone, counter, and outside zone, and to the different fronts. And I'm sure the kids get bored.
Mm-hmm.
Every practice in the summer, and then we'll start adding some wrinkles here and there. But we just believe that if we can't hang our hat on something,
right,
you really can't hang on anything. So I was talking to the quarterbacks just now about, we were actually talking about the same subject, and I said it was I don't know what year it was when we played West Monroe in the Dome, and we had a lot of wrinkles into that week, 5 or 6 new things, and first series we come out and we're throwing all this new stuff out, and it's all getting blown up. And we come back and we run the first pass concept that we install in the spring. And it was actually to Coach Whitfield touchdown, Next possession, we go back and the first run play that we install, goes for a touchdown. And it's like, all right, let's just go back to what we do, and ended up being a state championship that year.
That was a good game. I was at the game. I saw you always kind of remember the final touchdown. What was it, screen pass to Hilton?
Jailbreak screen to Chris Hilton. Yep.
So actually, it was some really good games that year. Easton and Carr played a burner right before y'all did. But no, so as a defensive coach, you kind of appreciate that. It's like, well, less doesn't mean easy. You know what I mean? And sometimes with the way offenses like to operate nowadays, I feel like some people outsmart themselves. They think more is better offensively as well.
Yeah. And for us, it's what's easy, and make it easy on the kids. If they feel 100% comfortable and confident in what they're doing, then obviously they can play faster. There's nothing worse than, having a talented football player and
he's confused.
He's not going to play full speed. So, make it easy so we can play fast.
What can you name a couple of the players that have stood out to you over the years?
Oh Lord.
I mean, there've been so many. Just at the quarterback position,
The quarterback position has been. I've been very blessed to have some unbelievable guys here. Lindsey Scott. My first 2 years, and then everybody was kind of worried when he graduated that we didn't really have a younger quarterback coming up. Then we had a freshman that played, what ended up being a 4-year starter for us. Jalen Brown
went to Memphis, didn't he? Back for another week. Story time with Coach Brew. All right, Coach Brew, again, very appreciative of the time. This is always a lot of fun. I think people appreciate it, so glad to have you here.
Absolutely. I'm excited about how this is going.
Yeah. I think we're growing a little bit every week. So I kind of like where this is headed. So we're going to jump right in, man. Actually, we didn't do this the last couple of weeks, but I kind of bled today's topic into with the player interview and talked a lot about adversity. What's it like to bounce back from a rough play or a rough game or a rough performance of any description. So that's what I want to go with this week is, how have you in your 12 years here, or even beyond that, before that, when you were head coach of Livonia, even when you fall behind in a game or you have a tough loss and you got to bounce back, what does that look like, and how does that look as the leader of the program to get the team to bounce back, to not let one mistake lead into 2 or one game lead into 2, 3, 4,
Sure.
Whatever it is?
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, we always talk about, never letting an opponent beat you twice.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to, if you drop a game, you got to figure out somehow how to flush that, and then the following week, go get prepared, and then go perform and execute on Friday to make sure that you get a win in the following week. So we do talk about that from time to time. But a lot of that has to do with the character inside your football program as well. They've got to understand the importance of getting back on track and figuring out how to get prepared for that next one and not laying down and pouting, the whole week. Now, the good thing about certainly today's culture and society is losses. Man, they tend to bother coaches for a lot longer.
Absolutely.
The kids are able to flush it pretty quick and get ready to go. As coaches, good Lord, my wife will tell you, she goes to the mother-in-law's house for a few days. I'm not real fun to be around, So after a loss, so I think that's the biggest thing is making sure that you talk about the mindset with your guys and understanding that as much as you would love to win every single one of them, that doesn't happen all the time. And so then how do you respond from that afterwards?
Yeah. What about the maturity of the kids? Are some teams more mature than others? Is it a year-to-year thing? Is it a temperature of the senior class or the leaders on the team or even the coaching staff of being able to get those guys in that mindset?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with your leaders within your football team and how they tend to handle adverse situations and move forward from them. I'll also tell you, I'm sure that, when you lose a football game and the next morning you come in and you're not feeling good about the loss as a player, I'm talking about, and then you see a coaching staff that's in there ready to get to work, ready to explain what happened the night before. This is why this happened. This is why that happened. Here's how we fix this. And then get moving with the game plan as far as next week is concerned. I'm sure from a player standpoint, it's probably a good way to get moving as quick as possible. And that probably gives them a little confidence that, hey, look, coaches are ready to go. We got to go.
And obviously a ton of success here in 12 years, and talk about how fortunate you are and how fortunate the program is, and we're able to, and you and the staff have been able to sustain that for a long time. Have there ever been any years that were rougher than others in terms of, okay, hey, maybe we lost 2 in a row, or maybe we played a lot of close games and we had to come from behind a couple of times? Any of those situations have come up in the last?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. There's only been one time in the 12 years I've been here we've ever lost 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a testament to our kids and our coaching staff and the program to being able to flush it and move on. I'll tell you, this is crazy now. in 2000. Let's see. In 2016, we agree to play in the Battle of the Border up in Independence Stadium.
I see y'all went up north, I believe.
And we're coming off a state championship, but we had graduated like something ridiculous, 17 starters off that team. So we agreed to play in this game, and we got a freshman quarterback at the time, Keelan Brown, and got just rookies everywhere out there. So we find out our opponent is Deerfield Beach High School out of Miami, Florida. Okay. Okay, whatever. So we get ready. We have a couple of games to get prepared for it, and we go into this game, and I'm watching on film. I'm watching Deerfield Beach had played their first, 3 or 4 games before we play each other. And, well, they're putting the ball all over the ground, and the quarterback's not real accurate throwing the football, and they got crushed by a team out of Maryland, I think, the week before. And so I'm thinking, all right, well, look, if we play well, we'll see what we can get done, whatever. So in the course of that week, we have 4 brand new starting receivers. Like I said, a freshman quarterback, an inexperienced offensive line, everything that you could possibly have, But the problem is we had won our first 2 games, so everybody's feeling great.
Everybody's flying high and feeling mean. Huh?
So the week of the game, Charles Robertson, who's a starting junior wide receiver, plays for UL now. Emergency appendectomy on Thursday. The next, another kid gets the flu on Friday morning, so bad that he doesn't even make the trip. Okay. So now we're rolling into the game with, like I said, a freshman quarterback and 2 starting receivers, both of which had not started the year before. First play from scrimmage, we run a crossing route, and he gets absolutely decleated, breaks 3 ribs, out
for the game.
So now I got 1 starting receiver, and he's a sophomore. And so the game went as the game went, and I'm watching what's going on out there, and the quarterback is not the same quarterback. In Florida, you have open transfer. Right? So the quarterback is not the quarterback I've been watching on film. This dude signed. You remember the Pratt kid that played quarterback at Tulane the last few?
Yeah.
That's who he was.
Oh, wow.
He becomes the quarterback, and he wasn't there before. The running back signed with Miami. They got 9 D1 guys out there. So you get where I'm going with this.
So they found dudes.
We had no business being in that game, and got destroyed. I'm talking about literally destroyed. Bad. Well, when the game ended, I was talking with the producer of the whole thing up there, and I said, "Hey, man, let me ask you a question, right? How did we figure out that we were the best matchup that y'all wanted for this Deerfield Beach team, right? Like Curtis played in this thing the night before. Catholic was coming off state championship. They had played in the night before, and I kept going. There's a ton of really good teams in Louisiana that are not even that are. They're here. Like, they played in this thing.
Y'all were the only team with any skins on the wall.
Right. Exactly. So he goes, "Hey, coach, I just, with the championships and everything, just figured, you guys be ready to go, So, and I said, well, have you ever actually seen us play? And he said, no, but I had, I heard y'all really good, whatever. And so I said, okay, I just want to see, where you thought the matchup might be, whatever. I can promise you at that point, there was no one in the state of Louisiana that was feeling sorry for us. I can promise you, right? In fact, I'm sure there's a lot of people that were quite happy that total destruction took place. Now, here's the problem. The following Friday, Brandon High School, the returning 6A state champions from Mississippi, is coming into our place to play, right? So here's the deal. You either tighten up, grab hold, and say, let's get ready, or you're going to get crushed the following week as well.
Right.
Not only did we bow up and have a great week of practice and play well. We actually won that football game the following week. I remember telling our coach and staff the next morning that it might have been the most proud I've ever been of a football team, and it might have been our most significant win. By the way, this wasn't in 16, was it? Doesn't matter. But it might have been our most significant win to date at that point, because it showed so much, right? I learned a lot about our kids. I learned a lot about our program at that point. And I used that win for a long time with our guys, just talking about the ability those guys had to come in and do the things they had to do to get prepared for a super quality opponent, and defend their home turf and get it done, So, like I said, luckily we just haven't had to deal with too many back-to-back losses around here. Thank goodness. So, and hopefully that, that continues. That certainly needs to be a mindset of your football program. If you're going to be successful, you got to figure out how to push through adverse situations and figure out ways to win.
Yeah. And real quick, freshman quarterback, starters with not a lot of experience in those situations. If you remember, how did the kids respond? 'Cause I always find that the kids know in those situations, who they're looking to take control of a game, who their guys are on the field that are going to, they can rely on. Did you see the guys who were experienced rally around those young cats?
Yeah, they had to, because they didn't have anybody else.
Right.
Gone were the all-state players that we had in years prior, the Lindsey Scott and Doug Coleman, PJ Cannon, and all those kinds of guys. Like, those were there where you looked around, they were nowhere to be found in our program. It was a bunch of no-name guys that were certainly inexperienced. And we had to do the things we had to do and come together as a football team to do that. And I thought they did a great job of really figuring out what was important. That team ended up going to the semifinals that year.
Yeah.
On a team that at the beginning of the year, you're going, ooh, man,
not sure.
I'm a little nervous about this one, right? And that team ended up, going to the money round, right? So I think the beautiful thing about being a community school district is, a lot of players that play for us, they come to these games on Friday nights when they're really, really young, right? And they watch those teams come through, and they watch specific players and what they do. And I think that helps tremendously, because they know there's an expectation level that's there, and they're expected to adhere to.
Yeah.
That's a big part.
So as we wrap up, one more question or comment or topic. Acadiana this week, obviously. Talk about adversity. Typically a tough game when anybody lines up against them, So what is kind of the history of that matchup?
Well, I'll tell you, there's only been a couple of games that the Broncos came out on top. Right? Not too many, and they were close games, the ones that we did win. Acadiana typically has had Zachary's number big time over the years. It's funny that you asked me that, because I actually just wrote some stuff down today. 2010, 49-7 Rams. 2011, 75-21. 2012, 62-22. 2014, 9-3 in a semifinal game. 2019, 21-14. 2024, 42-23. So, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six times Acadiana has beaten Zachary. Luckily, since we got here in 2014, there's not too many teams that we have a losing record to, but they're certainly one of them. We're 2-3 against those guys since I've been here. It's always a hard-fought, hard-hitting, physical football game when we play each other. And I told our team today, right? If you listen to all the stuff going on right now with Acadiana, right? Like, got beat pretty bad the other night with Ruston. And, they're done. Their tradition's over. All that kind of stuff. That's nonsense. You know what
People
I mean?
love a narrative. Fine.
Sure.
They want to, the run is over, whatever the case.
That's absolutely crazy. If you put that film on from the other night, there are some things that took place in that game that are just weird, and they happen in those kinds of games. You and I discussed last week about having those games where everything just clicks and everything goes great. Well, that's what happened the other night in that game. I mean, the Ruston goes 3-and-out on their first 3 series, right? Acadiana just stones them, and then on the next series, they break a run for 80. All right, boom, touchdown. Okay. Then Acadiana, tries to fake a punt deep in their own territory. Don't get it. 3 plays later, touchdown. Then Acadiana breaks a long run for a score, 14-7, kickoff, boom, house, touchdown. So that's 21-7. They throw a jump ball to their 6'6", 6'7" tight end. Ruston does. It's great coverage, by the way. I mean, the guy is right up on him. They both go up for the ball. Ball pops up in the air. He catches it, goes 60. Well, there are some plays in that game that are, if one little bitty thing happens, it doesn't end up that way, right?
Yep.
The next thing you know, it's snowballing now. Now it's 35-7. It's 42-7. It's just one of those really, really crazy nights. Certainly not indicative of what Acadiana is and has been for a really, really long time. There's got guys on that football team that have played in some truly meaningful big-time football games.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like they're not experienced. They got a bunch of new starters, but it's not like they're not experienced as far as big-time game situations are concerned. And I know what happens when Zachary and Acadiana play. Period. End of story. Thankfully, I read some of their scores from way back in the day, and it wasn't pretty, but we've been able to fight with them and have some really, really good contests with them, and I certainly expect that same thing to happen this week. I mean, it's going to be a good football game.
Yeah, the team that is able to respond best to when bad things are going to inevitably happen, because that's what happens when good teams play.
Sure.
Mistakes are going to take place. Whoever could respond to those things, like you said, flush them and move on. That's going to be the mark of the better team on that night.
Yeah,
Coach, man, I appreciate the stories, man. As always, thank you for doing this with us, taking some time. Absolutely. And we'll see you next week, Coach. Appreciate it. That's a wrap for today's show. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Z, the Zachary Football Podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Don't forget, like and subscribe.